Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I've decided to do a bit of a different video. I want to do a video where I teach what for me are the best 10 tips, 10 clues to improve your game of GeoGuessr. This is a beginner's guide for people that don't know how to play the game too much and want to improve. Hopefully many of my friends catch on to them and we have some competitive games, and anyone watching that wants to improve at GeoGuessr and still beginner, I think this video could come with a lot of help. So let's get straight into it. GeoGuessr, of course, is a game where you have to guess where you are in the world based on imagery that the game will prompt you. Now, this imagery is brought from Google Maps to be precise. So one of the most important things to know is that Google's coverage is not everywhere in the world. It's specific to where the Google car has passed, and this limits the locations to many countries. So how do we know which countries? If you go into Google Maps and you grab the man, the famous yellow man, you'll see all the areas where the Google car has passed turn blue. You see most of the world, let's say half of the world actually is covered. All of Europe, all of North America, and South America, pretty much on most of it except like Venezuela, Guyana, and parts of the Amazon, Paraguay, northern Bolivia. In Africa, it's quite a good one because you only got like southern African countries, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda in the east, a bit of Madagascar, and then in the west you got Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, and Tunisia. Yeah, let me get that straight. You rarely will get Algeria, Morocco. These are photospheres I have included there. Yeah, for Europe, it's mainly all of Europe, excluding Belarus. Asia, one of the big ones is that there's no China. Northern Russia is pretty much avoided. Yeah, some of the stands are not there. I would say only Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan are in it. Iran you rarely get. In the Middle East is mainly UAE, Qatar, Oman is one of the new ads. Actually, two of the new added countries are Namibia and Oman. You can see them in blue. Definitely Lebanon, Turkey, this area is also covered. Southeast Asia, pretty much covered. Papua Island, not really. Japan, South Korea, North Korea, obviously not. Taiwan is in the game for sure. And then Australia and New Zealand are covered, but do take into account that Australia has this empty patch pretty much in the center west, you know, so never guess there. So yeah, that's the first clue that I would take. Learn which countries are in the game and which are not. Second clue, it's a good one, and I want to exemplify it, is looking at the sun, particularly when you're in cold countries, when you think there's like cold weather. It's very good looking at the sun because it probably means you're very close to the North Pole or very close to the South Pole. Let's exemplify it with Argentina. We go into Argentina round, we look for the sun. Where's the sun? It's right there. So this round's not very good. Let's try a different round. It doesn't always work, this hint, but usually it does. So yeah, you look at the compass and you put it aligned with the sun. In this case, it's not extremely obvious, but you can see the sun is kind of east northeast, right? And what does that mean? It means that you're on the opposite hemisphere because of the way the Earth rotates and the sun hits the Earth. When the sun looks at the north in the compass, it means you're in the southern hemisphere. So in this case, we're in the southern hemisphere in Argentina. Let's exemplify the opposite. For example, let's go into Canada, which is way up north. So yeah, let's see. We look at the sun. It's not the best round because sometimes the sun sets and rises, so it works best when it's, yeah, the top here it works really well. For example, you look at the sun, clearly that's the sun, and we see that it's directly south, which means we're in the northern hemisphere. This is a good clue to use. It doesn't always work, but many times it does. And yeah, I particularly recommend it to use when you're in cold weathers or where you're like, yeah, like fairly south. So Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Australia works. And then in the north, similarly, you know, Europe, US, Canada, Russia. You look at the sun, you see it's north and you're in the southern hemisphere. You see the sun is south, you're in the northern hemisphere. So that's a way of knowing which hemisphere you're at, which can come in handy. Next clue. which side of the road are you driving on? This is a good map that exemplifies it. Yeah, you can see most of the world drives right, but there's quite distinctive countries that drive left. In Europe, it helps a lot. If you're driving left, you're only in the UK or Ireland. In Africa, it's only the south and the southeast, which can come in handy as well. But I particularly like this clue for Asia. In East Asia, the only country that drives left is Japan. They drive right in Taiwan, that's in the game, in South Korea, for example. These are quite good. Then in the Southeast Asia area is also quite useful because they drive left in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and they drive right in countries like Cambodia, Philippines, Laos. So it's a good way to use it, particularly say when you're in Asia and Africa, but Europe as well comes in handy. And yeah, don't forget Australia and New Zealand drive left as well. Next clue, flags. This is a general one, but countries love their flags and being patriotic about it. So if you learn flags, you'll have a huge advantage. Some ones are quite easy to learn. Like I think most people know the US flag, Canada flag, Brazil flag, so on, European ones. But if you get to know most of them, it can come in handy for example, in around like Namibia, Botswana, potentially like Cambodia, Philippines. Some a bit more rare countries, right? Like Chile, example. So yeah, learn your flags. I think it could be very helpful for your game. Next clue, stop signs. Stop signs are everywhere in the world. It helps you order traffic, and they are different. They're pretty different around the world. I think that most of the world uses stop, but there's a few distinctions that can come in handy. I particularly like it when I'm in Latin America in general, so from Mexico south. In South America, so from Colombia south, they use the word pare. And from Panama north, Panama is in the game actually as well, Panama, Guatemala, Mexico, they use the word alto. So that's a good way to differentiate yourself from South and Central America. Then you have specific cases like Berhenti in Malaysia, or this Thai version, or yeah, Japan has its own version as well. Turkey as well is quite good with a dur. There's arrête in the Quebec region, arrête in the Quebec region, and so on. It's a good one to learn. It's not too difficult. There's not too many variances, but yeah, if you see one that's unique, you can narrow down your search. Next one. These are the center lines on a divided road. Mainly in the Americas, but also a few exceptions like Nigeria, Norway, China, Thailand, and so on. They have yellow center lines, whilst the rest have white center lines. Particularly all of Europe is quite distinctive to have white center lines. Yellow center lines are usually associated with the American continent. Do take into consideration Chile does use white, not yellow. For example, it's a good distinctive. So it's also something good, and I think not too hard to learn to improve your GeoGuessr game. Next clue, language. Yeah, you usually see language at some point in many rounds, so it's also good to try to differentiate them and yeah, learn a few languages, at least know how they look. Let me exemplify. For example, Korean, this one, Korean on the left, it has these very distinctive circles that, for example, Japanese or Chinese don't. I struggle to differentiate Chinese and Japanese. They are quite similar, but these characters will not have these circles that are unique to Korean. Then another example, for example, this is Turkish with a little line under the S. That's very unique. French, the horizontal straight line is very unique to Hindi and Bengali. So you know you're in that area of the world. Then in general, you know, distinguish German to Spanish, English, Italian, Portuguese, French. It's a good one to know, and the more you see them, the more you will recognize them. Next clue, driver plates, so license in cars. Some countries use license plates that are in the front and the back, some only in the back. This is not a clue about that. This is more about the color of the license plates, because in GeoGuessr, the license plates mainly are blurred, so it's hard to to read and stuff, but you can definitely tell the color in the background that can come in handy. And there's some countries that are very distinctive. Most countries have a white background, let's be real, but if you see a yellow background, for example, which you see more often than you think, in South America, you are in Colombia. All number plates in Colombia are yellow. In Europe, there's only a few places where you can find yellow number plates. The UK is one of them, the Netherlands is one of them, and Luxembourg is one of them. It's the only places in Europe where you find really bright yellow ones. In Africa, it varies a lot, but definitely like Namibia, Botswana, you'll find yellow ones. Ghana is also a good one for yellow number plates. Same with Uganda and Rwanda and a few other countries. Do they take into consideration not all of these countries are on GeoGuessr. Moving on to Asia, Laos, this one in yellow is a pretty good one to recognize when there are yellow number plates. And yeah, for example, black number plates in Southeast Asia are also quite useful in Indonesia, India. So yeah, if you see a pure black one, it's fair to say you're there. Next clue, general terrain. General terrain, particularly can be useful to region guess once you know kind of the country you're in. For example, the US is fairly dry in the middle, even bits of Canada are pretty dry there. A bit more forestry on the east, a bit more rocky on the west. When it comes to South America, there's very large amounts of jungle in the center, kind of mountainous down the Andes range, quite dry in the coast of Peru and Chile. What else can I do? Like Australia has a pretty unique ecosystem depending where you're from. So more in the south is more Mediterranean looking in these purple areas, very dry looking in the center, and so on. Yeah, these were my top 10 hints of GeoGuessr. Honestly, there's so many more, and there's also meta clues, which are like the car that has gone through, but I try not to go through that. I'm talking about mainly the things that you will see in every round. And my best advice is to use a combination of all the clues I just taught you, plus new ones that you can learn, and give it your best guess. So my final hint and my final tip would be to study. There's quite a few good websites to do this. My favorite is called Plunkett, plunkett.net. You can really go into details of what you want to see. For example, this is the whole map. You can go into a country. Let's take an example, Peru. They have in detailed information of Peru. So driving sites, landscapes, bollards, electric poles, like it really gets into the details and you can study them a lot. So you can get as good as you want. This game never ceases to have new information and you can never stop learning because the world is very large, but it's a very fun one, and hopefully this video has helped you if you're a beginner improve your traditional GeoGuessr clues. So yeah, make sure to get into the GeoGuessr, and that'll be all for today's video. Like if you liked the video, comment anything you might thought of, and subscribe for more content coming soon. See you guys next time. Peace.